We're getting towards the end of the year. And if you're a real estate investor, one of the most important things we know and you should be doing right now is planning for 2025, because 2024 is done. There's nothing you can do to really affect what you've got going on this year. There's no changes you can make that really are going to have any kind of impact because the year's done. I was actually looking at my calendar a little bit earlier today and I'm like, well, we have Thanksgiving and then I've got a week of planning for next year, and then it's Christmas, and then I'm going on a cruise. So this year I've got like 3 weeks left. So it's really time to start looking at 2025. And that's what all of the best investors are doing.
David, I couldn't agree with you more, David. The end of the year is nearly here, right? And what we do now is really about how we set ourselves up. So once those vacations are done over Christmas, where we're hitting the ground running, and that's what we're really passionate about. So would love to get into it and let's see how we can help some people make 2025 even better. Because I don't know about you, but I'm just even feeling, since the election last week, I'm just feeling like there's change in the air, like positive change.
I would agree with that. I feel like consumer confidence has just taken a little bit of a bounce, and there's some and at least here in the US, we've got a president who is very pro-business, and everybody, to me, at least in our industry and what we're seeing on Facebook and just from talking to people are very excited and hope that there'll be changes in regulations and laws and just all those things to sort of spur on our business, and especially real estate, because it's such a big sector. So it's an exciting time to be a real estate investor. I think the people who are not planning for an uptick in the market are going to get left behind. This is the opposite of COVID, right? Where people wanted to sort of slow down. Now is the time to, get on that bike and start pedaling really quick so that you can keep up. Because if you are not planning today for 2025, you will be left behind, because we have both got clients who are all very savvy, very high performers. And I promise you, they are all sitting around the conference table right now going, what are we going to be doing next year? Because this market is going to take off. And how do I take advantage of that?
100%. Yep. I've got customers that are already researching markets and getting out there and talking to builders and developers and getting a hold of what's their plans for 2025. It's that proactivity. I always say, people often ask me the question, David, what's the difference between our successful customers and our non-successful customers? Because let's face it, any service provider out there, the reality is not 100% of people are going to be successful at what they do.
No.
The number one thing that I see that is different is the proactiveness versus reactiveness. So people that are doing well in business are proactive. They're planning, they're getting ahead of their pipeline. They're always looking at what's in the pipeline and getting ahead of their leads and managing things and doing stuff before it becomes necessary. It's all that action, right? Yep. The ones that aren't so successful is they're waiting. They're waiting for the right moment to call back that lead. Waiting for everything, all the stars to align. But guess what? Here's the newsflash. The stars never align, right? You got to strike while the iron's hot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had a mentor of mine, Dan Merrill, the guy who started Fortune Builders and just did such a great job teaching people. But he taught me one time, it's speed of implementation. He said, we all have $1 million idea in the shower, right? Every single person on the planet has had million, billion-dollar ideas. But it's the people who go, oh, let me put that into action. Those are the people that make those, big jumps ahead. And it doesn't have to be, you're reinventing the wheel. It can be just something very small, like, oh, that would work great in my business. Oh, other people are having success. Let me start to implement that. But before we get into